The first step is always this desktop analysis where we simply kind of look at the market, look at the competition, see who's doing the best, see what they're doing, and then ideate how can we compete, how can we iterate and improve upon what the competition is doing. If we do that, if we improve on what the competition is doing, we'll improve on the revenue they're doing. We're going to identify how to improve the revenue of this Airbnb to peak profit. All right. After we do that, we're going to walk the property, see how practical it is to implement the vision that we come up with here. And then you're going to be able to track the progress as we actually make these improvements and see the resulting revenue after what we do. So the first step is always this desktop analysis where we simply kind of look at the market, look at the competition, see who's doing the best, see what they're doing, and then ideate how can we compete, how can we iterate and improve upon what the competition is doing. If we do that, if we improve on what the competition is doing, we'll improve on the revenue they're doing. All right. So this is the subject property. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, sleep 16. All right. Well, actually 18, according to that right there. Now, one thing that I want to point out about this property in particular is that it is 2 houses in one. All right. So just so we get an idea of what we're actually working with. This is the rear house, right? This is the front house. There's the main house, right? So rear house, main house, we got a yard in the middle. Okay. And it's well designed, well renovated. So it's a nice house. And, we're not going to have to do a full rehab. We're really just going to be looking at what kind of amenities can we add to get more money out of this property. All right. It only has 4 reviews, 4.75 stars, and this property has been active for a while. So that review count definitely looks a little low. And also at first glance, the bed count looks a little low for 18 people. That is literally less than half a bed for every one person. So that's below the bare minimum that most people do. So that's what we're looking at. For starters, let's go ahead and dive into the comparable properties. All right. So this property right here, 3 units in 1 Galveston Home Drive. So it's a triplex. So it's kind of a similar strategy, right? This property that I'm going to look at right now did $147,000 in the trailing 12 months in gross revenue. Now, there are some weird kind of things that happen. AirDNA, the data source that I'm using, they get tricked when you have multiple listings for one unit or for one building. It can kind of, again, mess with the data that it's telling you, that it's saying, this is how much money it made based on kind of the calendar and the book block method. In this instance, though, I don't think it's going to be too far off. It has if you look at the other listings and you look at the calendars, it seems that, I think it's probably pretty close to that. All right. So without diving into too much detail about the data, the biggest things that I see here that this property is doing that, I think is making it successful is bed count, right? 14 beds for all the people to sleep. So it's got a lot of places for people to sleep. So when you have large groups, that's great. It has multiple double queen rooms. It's a pretty clean house. It's dated, but I'm going to say it's well put together, At least they painted. It's got that nice hardwood floors. They installed mini splits. That was nice of them. Make it a nice, comfortable place. This is a beach town, coastal Texas, so it can definitely get really humid here. So there's people that install mini splits all over the place. They're really making for a nice guest experience. We've got the coffee station. So far, all I've seen that really makes this place stand out to me is a lot of beds. This kitchen, I like when people do this when they have the open shelving so you can just see what you're working with in the kitchen. This looks a little light on supplies, if I'm being honest. I feel like there should be more cups and more plates for a number of people that this house is purporting to sleep. All right, double queen room. It looks like a really big room. Another double queen room. And here's a room with, it looks like it has 3 beds in it. Yeah. I don't know if it qualifies as a room. Might be just another living space. that they put a bunch of beds in. All right, so you can see that their strategy here is plainly, let's just make a lot of people be able to sleep in this house. Backyard's okay. No fire pit, just a few chairs, really not enough chairs for all the people that can stay here. All right, so all that this place has going for it is occupancy. It can sleep a lot of people, and it also has the multi-listing strategy, which if you were to look at the other listings on this property, people are leaving more reviews on some than on others, but they all have several reviews. And so actually, I think this might be a 4-listing property, last I looked at it, right? Because you got 3 individual units that you could market, and then you can also market the entire, all 3 combined. So, this property is doing something that we can definitely do here. We can have at least 3 listings. Seeing as how we have 2 buildings, we can market each one individually or both together. All right. So here is another house that is essentially the same thing. This is a duplex in the back, as opposed to what we have in the back of this property is a single family, a single unit, right? It's not 2 separate units like this is. So you got stairs going up to the left, stairs going up to the right. We just have one entry on the front, one entry on the back, both leading into the same house. Nonetheless, this gives us an idea, again, just like the triplex does, of how well this type of property can perform, all right? This one's done $104,000 in the trailing 12 months. And it did that over the course of 363 calendar days, so that is a full year. That's operating a little bit further from the beach than the subject property is. I think we're right over here. Got fire pit seating outside. What's our bed count on this property? 10 beds. More reviews than the last one. A guest favorite. They've achieved that little badge. String lights for ambiance in the outdoor. Little white picket fence. Accent wall going with the shiplap. Kitchen looks more updated than the last one we looked at, I'd say. Showing you all the kitchen supplies. Let's get into the beds. We got a bunk room. If you can do a bunk room, I suggest always doing it if you can. I'm not blown away by the design of this property, but it's not nothing. It's not bare walls. There's no amenities. There's other than beds and your kitchen supplies. I mean, there's nothing to do for entertainment at this property, either inside or outside of the backyard. Okay, so, and the design is not stellar. It's not totally cohesive, but we got blues here, and then we start getting into, because when I saw some now we have no blues, now we got a little bit of blue here, but we're greens and brown, greens and white. I don't know what color that is, but all the blue went away. So it's not like this cohesive design strategy throughout this property. It's just a bunch of beds. All right. Now, this is an effort to find similar strategies, right? These 2 comps. And by the way, if you want to know how I found these, how I, went through AirDNA's data and found these 2 particular properties that I'm starting with, I have another video on that shows you how to set up your filters and then go through the list of properties that are produced after you set up the filters and identify your true comparable property. So I already did all that. And these were 2 that I wanted to start with just because they're, we can do a very similar strategy, or they're doing a strategy very similar to what I think we're going to end up doing with this subject property to improve its revenue. All right. So now we're going to get into other top performing properties in the very local area, right? That are doing well, making good money, so that we can learn from them and figure out what we're going to do with this subject property. All right. So far, all we've seen is sleeping lots of people, providing lots of beds, sleeping lots of people works. That can make you 6 figures in and of itself, right? What else can we do? Okay, so this property right here, only 4 bedrooms and only 3 baths. So 1 less bedroom, 1 less bathroom than what we have. So whatever this property is doing to earn $97,000, if we do a better job of it, and we do that better job in a bigger space with more rooms and more bathrooms, we're going to earn more money, right? We have to. So let's see what this guy's doing. So we can see that the design, the rehab, this is much better than what we've looked at before, right? This is a true rehab to modern standards. It looks like they rehabbed the entire place in this old house. That's also true of the subject property. The owners did a really nice job rehabbing it, keeping a touch of the old with these hardwood floors and blending it in with the new. And look at this kitchen, right? Look at that backsplash, that hood. This is a good example. Actually, that sign is right behind me. I'm at the property. Okay, so this is a good example of how to do a good job rehabbing and designing a property. Okay, so these people also did that. We got the wet bar. What else are they doing that we're not? That is not being done at this property that's allotting these people to make more money with a smaller house. All right, what is it? Where is it at? It's got to be here somewhere. So far, we're just seeing nice design. And okay, there's a bunk room with 2 bunks, so that's 4 beds. What's our bed count compared to the subject, right? We got 7 beds here, and our subject property has 8 beds. But this one sleeps 18 guests, and this is only 9. So every guest has more than 50% of a bed. All right. If you had 4.5 beds, or if you had 10 guests and 5 beds, then every guest gets half of a bed, right? 9 guests, 7 beds, every guest gets more than half a bed. So that ratio of beds to guests is over 50%. That is usually an indicator of success. Ideally, you want to provide every guest their own bed. That is how you optimize for your occupancy. Okay, so we've got nice rehab, nice design, cohesive design, good guest to bed ratio, not much else. No amenities, no entertainment, no arcade game, no pool table, no shuffleboard, none of that. A little bit of seating outside and a barbecue. All right? Making $97,000. A good, not even a great rating. 4.77, that's okay. You ideally want to be above 4.8 for the Airbnb algorithms, or Airbnb. All right, so far I'm not seeing a lot that's kind of blowing me away. It's like, oh, we should do that. What I'm really seeing is like, oh, there's opportunity to really provide something better than what is being provided in these comparable properties. And so we should be able to make more money. All right. So in another house, 1 less bedroom, about 1 less bathroom, sleeps 10 guests, 6 beds, themed America. Right. So it's old school house, colonial vibes going, rehabbed. I like what they did with this rehab. Looking at these pictures, they kept some of the old and brought in some new, modern, nice big giant kitchen. The backsplash in the kitchen there. This is a chef's kitchen. This is cool. Right, so this is a really nice kitchen that they did when they did this rehab. Man, these bathrooms are nice too. This is great. This is just an example of a really good rehab, bringing a historic building to modern times, but keeping that old character when you do it. I appreciate what they did here. Backyard looks cool. We got the string lights. We got this, herringbone style kind of backyard situation going on here. It looks cool, but I don't see anywhere to sit. Oh, and you can get a shirt if you stay there. All right, so kind of what we just looked at. It's very nice. There's not much to do at the property. And then here is a 3-bedroom house, 2.5 baths. Why am I looking at this property? Because it's doing not much less than the last few we just looked at, and it's smaller. So what is it doing to generate as much revenue as these bigger houses? We can see right off the jump that it's got a hot tub. None of the other properties have that. Right. So and as we go through these pictures, I think it's going to become apparent that the hot tub is what's doing the trick. All right. Again, this is a nice rehab. I wouldn't say they spent as much as the last 2 that we just looked at. All right. You did the farmhouse sink. That's cool. And the cabinetry and the shiplap backsplash is okay. It's not this hyper modern thing. They kept it, pretty rustic, as far as I can tell. Still looks nice. Don't get me wrong. That's a cool shower. but this backyard is definitely better than any of the last few we've looked at. Okay. We got the hot tub, decent seating area, and this is just a 3-bedroom home. All right. And so the main thing that I'm getting while looking through the subject property and trying to figure out what can we do to bring, according to AirDNA, this $70,000 up over 100, like these properties are doing up here. Like this one's probably doing, if AirDNA is reporting 97,000, that's actually probably underreporting, and that's hitting over 100. All right. How do we get this subject property to over $100,000? Given that it's already really nice rehab and decor, I don't think we really need to add any decoration to it. I think it's got just the right amount of that. Personally, maybe my design team will fight me on that. But where I'm seeing the most opportunity in this property is this backyard. What can we fit in this backyard? Yes, we need to find out how to add some more beds and make the 18 guests that could be potentially staying there more comfortable and have more choices, more options. If we can get 12 beds in here at least. And when you include rollaways or blow-ups, which we don't generally do blow-ups, we'll do rollaways before that, but whatever additional beds we put in to get to 12, aside from doing that, most opportunity is in this backyard. What's cool about that is it probably won't break the bank to just really improve this backyard. And what I'm thinking that we can do here, just because if you look at more and more properties in this particular market, it's not really being done. We go with the outdoor spa. So barrel sauna in this corner, cold plunge station over here, hot tub over here, fire pit seating in this corner. I've got four corners, so I'm thinking 4 different things. Make this really cool outdoor hangout / spa area. I've never seen a house with a barrel sauna underperforming in its market. Not seen that yet. If you go look at the top performing properties and someone's got a barrel sauna sitting in the backyard, or if you go find, you go look at any market and you find the properties that have barrel saunas sitting in the backyard, they're also usually producing the most money in their market compared to, similar sized homes. And I'm not seeing any barrel saunas in this market. There's a lot of people that are just not doing anything. It's actually kind of surprising, right? Just providing a place to sleep. This is a commercial area where there's lots to do. There's restaurants and stores that you can go to and a beach. Nonetheless, this stuff works when you provide some really cool outdoor stuff to do at the house. I've seen it work in every single market. We have a glimpse of what it can do to just a smaller house. Is throwing in a hot tub, right? This guy's damn near keeping up with these larger homes that we're looking at. So that's the direction that I'm going to push for this property, is to go with the outdoor spa. Definitely get that the big old barrel sauna hanging out back there. It just stands out when you take pictures, right? So that's the direction I'm going to push for. We are now on site. We're going to take measurements and see what we can actually fit in this backyard, because we don't want people just squeezing through all these amenities that we put in and not really able to move around, right? So you need to see if we can actually fit all 4 of these ideas here, or maybe it's going to have to be reduced to just the barrel sauna and the cold plunge. I don't know, but we're going to take our measurements and we're going to do some shopping, and we're going to see what can we really fit. What is the layout going to look like? I'm going to put together a 2-dimensional space plan so we can visualize it. And then, of course, we'll also recommend some improvements to the inside, namely occupancy stuff, beds. Maybe if there's room somewhere, maybe we'll throw in an arcade game or 2, but the real focus is definitely going to be this backyard. So in the next video, we'll take a look at this house so you can get some walkthrough perspective of it as well, because you got to do that, right? You got to get on site and you've got to see how practical is it to implement the vision that I came up with during this desktop analysis. Are the things that I want to install going to fit? Are the things that the pictures don't reveal? Not just about the house, but also about the area, the neighborhood, right? Get on site, get on the ground, do your due diligence, see if your vision is, feasible in terms of coming to life there. So that's what the next video is going to be about. And I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, one more thing. P.S. How much money can this house make? What's the target? My educated guess is $120,000. All right, if we come in and do a better job than these guys are doing, we have a bigger house, more bedrooms, more bathrooms, and more amenities, really cool stuff in the backyard, I think we can hit 120. Really, I think we can hit more than that. I think 120 is a realistic expectation if we provide this awesome backyard that no one in the area is really providing. Right? Yeah, there's houses with pools. Yes, we're competing against that. But we're looking at houses without them. And I know from experience that if we provide a much better guest experience than your competitors, the guest will provide you much more average daily rate. Okay, so I'm saying 120 a year is what we should do. After your operational expenses, including your cleaning, which is the biggest one, and then your variable expenses, your repairs and maintenance of your utilities, all that stuff, and then the management fee that we'll charge as well. After all of that, this house should come closer to about $60,000 a year in operating income. That's what the owner would have to pay their mortgage, right? Everything else would be covered inside of that. And so this will produce positive cash flow, because we know that the mortgage payment is fixed amount. It doesn't change. And so that's what we're shooting for here. That's what we're here to figure out. How do we implement our vision so we can hit this $120,000? So again, next video, walking through the house. See you there. All right, so we finished our desktop analysis. If you haven't seen that video yet, go watch it. But we developed a vision or some ideas for how to improve the revenue of this property that's an Airbnb or a short-term rental. Let's go ahead and take a look at the property. I'm going to show you some of the spaces that we looked at during the desktop analysis to see how feasible the ideas that we came up with there really are the things that I want to install going to fit, etc. All right, really cool little deck space here. Not sure that I would even change anything about it. Actually, a lot of the things about this property that I noticed doesn't need any change to the things that are there. Let's just add some more things. So let's go see if we got room for that. All right, so the renovation, the design, really well done. All right, the owners did a great job. The wife has a very tasteful eye for how to make a property look and feel inviting, which is great. That means we don't have to do too much, right? So just giving you a quick look before we get into the backyard, which is really where the major focus is going to be for us as a team coming in and doing the improvements to the design and the amenities. Again, not a whole lot of design change that I think we need to do. Here's another look at the renovation. This is good quality. I mean, if you're here and you're looking at the baseboards, you can see that they don't look messy. There's not like paint or buildup going up. Like it's a clean job that they did on the renovation. Very nice kitchen. The backsplash and the countertop combo, it looks great. They left a monster for me. Now I feel energized. All right, so just wanted to kind of give you a peek at the design that we're working with. It's really good. So let's go look at this outdoor space and see if we can do the things we want to do. All right, so here we are in the outdoor space. We talked about in our desktop analysis doing a barrel sauna, fire pit seating area, a hot tub, and a cold plunge station. Can we fit all of that out here? All right, so I know they make different size barrel saunas, to be sure, but maybe we can butt one up against this wall right here. Maybe it's going to face this way. It would block that window if you do that. Maybe we can do it over here, but then we could be blocking this gas line. Maybe we can do it right here with the butt of the sauna coming right off the back of this, backed right up to this wall right here where this water heater's at. Tankless water heater, by the way, unlimited hot water. Love when people do that. All right. And then it can just kind of pull out this way. All right. So these are the things that we've got to figure out. How is the exact layout going to be so that you can flow through the system of outdoor sauna, outdoor spa that we set up without feeling like you're smushed by all the stuff out here. All right. But potentially barrel sauna there. Hot tub would fit nicely in that corner right there for sure. Cold plunges over there. And then where are we going to put the fire pit seating? All right. Do we have to sacrifice something to have that? Because I don't think I want to get rid of the fire pit seating. If we have to get rid of anything, maybe it's the hot tub. I don't know. But that's what we're here to figure out. So we've got the measurements taken, and now we're going to go to the literal drawing board and see where it's all going to fit. All right. So we got this back house that we also identified on the desktop analysis. So let's go take a look at that and get some ideas about how we can increase the occupancy and maybe find space for a few other amenities like arcade games, etc. Let's go take a look. Okay, so we're actually coming in the back door from the alley. So this is gonna make it really good. Just point that out real quick. This is gonna make it a lot easier for us to do the multi-listing strategy, because the people that are staying in this back house can just come and park in this alley. We'll need to make sure they can, but I see nothing that so far that prohibits them from parking in this alley, having their own private interest into this house, and never having to go into that shared communal yard if they don't want to, right? So they can stay separate from whatever group might be over there. And then of course, we can combine both listings. There is an entrance through the backyard into this house as well. So it can really feel like, one big shared house, if you will, one shared experience. But here we are in the backyard house, if you will, the back house. Same tasteful, well done design. Everything looks clean. We look at these baseboards, they look clean. We got clean edges. It's not sloppy. So they got the attention to detail. They did a good job, and they got the design eye. So that's great. I don't really see room for much more amenities in here. Maybe something here right under this mini split. I don't know about that. We could put something right here. We could put a thing right here for sure. This could be like the Pac-Man game or something, potentially. Definitely no room for a pool table or something large like that, right? Having multiple washer and dryers, because we got one in the main house and we got one here. This is great for the cleaning staff. They will usually charge you less money if they can get your laundry done quicker, because that's the most expensive, that's the most time-consuming thing they do, is laundry, right? So you can reduce the amount of time they spend on the property by having 2 sets of washers and dryers. So that's kind of a little advantage that we get with having these 2 properties. All right, let's go check. We came here to check on occupancy, right? It's the main thing we wanted to see. Do we have room for more beds? Okay. This is a really nice bathroom. We definitely can't put any beds in there. So let's go check out these bedrooms. So king bed, there's a king bed in the other house too. King beds are great. People tend to love them, but you're also sacrificing the amount of beds you could put in a space. We can't do a double queen in here. Maybe we can do a trundle that pulls out from underneath, or we might just have to go with rollaway beds. Same thing in this bedroom. And this is that old style where you got to flow and walk through an existing bedroom to get to another one. It's okay for families though, if they've got kids, even teenage kids, because at least they get a door, or, the parents can sleep in here. I almost think that it'd be better to switch the king bed into here, because if you're a family, the parents, they're going to want kind of the more private room. They're going to want to walk through the kids' room to get to their room, not the kids walking through their room to get to theirs, where they get like a private space with a closable door. So I might make that flip, but that said, I'm not seeing a ton of room for more beds, other than things that maybe pull out from underneath the existing beds. You can maybe pull out a twin trundle, comes out here onto the floor that small children can sleep on. There is room for a rollaway. You could unfold a rollaway right here. I don't know where we're going to put this rollaway bed, but both of these rooms at least have room for a rollaway bed in each one. And that right there would increase the bed count by 2. The other rooms in the other house, they're larger. We can take a little look at those. So we can definitely fit more rollaways in those rooms, but I would like to find a space to at least install a legit other bed or another bunk bed. So let's go take a look at those other bedrooms and see if we can find that there. We're back in the main house in the upstairs master bedroom. All right, let's take a look at it. Now, it is ideal to actually stay in a property for a night or two to get a feel for it and really find a lot of things that you otherwise wouldn't find if you didn't live in the house. So we are doing that. FYI, when you see things around here. All right, that said, here we are on master. And I love the seating here. Although, admittedly, I have not sat in these chairs since I've been here, and I haven't seen anyone else do it. So far, it's just being used to set our things on. We could just as easily set our things on a day bed. That's right here. And now we've increased our bed count again, and it's a real bed. Oh, by the way, we could do a full-size day bed with a pull-out trundle underneath. And we've added 2 more beds. Legit beds with real mattresses that people can sleep on. Great situation for families. So my design team might go that direction, and we'll just put these chairs and this table somewhere else, because these are legitimately still great chairs to sit in that we're not using for actually sitting in. All right. There's one spot that we could potentially put some beds. Let's go check out a couple of the bedrooms. The bedroom is currently under use, but there are 2 beds in there. So I know for a fact that nothing more can fit in there. It's wall-to-wall beds with a king bed and I think a full or a twin in there. So really that just leaves this room. And we've got this full bed in here, this queen over queen bunk, which is awesome. I would say, just looking at this room, we can definitely put a couple rollaways in here. If not, another twin over twin bunk right here. We would have to do something with this TV. I don't know where we would put it. Maybe it would drop down from the ceiling. Maybe it would have to go on that wall. I don't know, but there's definitely room for another bed here. And we could probably earn more revenue. When we talk about concepts of usable square footage, make sure you're using every square foot in the house to make maximum revenue. I think a twin over twin bunk right here would generate more revenue than this table and TV. So that's where I'm at right now. Next thing we're going to do after this is we're going to go to the little drawing board with my designers that have also design team that's come here and taken measurements, and they've got their own ideas too. We all got our own ideas. We're going to sit down, we're going to collaborate, and we're going to stamp a table, buy our final plan of action to improve this property, and then we're going to execute it. So stay tuned. You'll get to see all that stuff next, what we actually do, what it actually looks like, and how much money it actually makes.